Welcome back to our channel where you can get the latest news and fashion articles on Catherine, Princess of Wales. Today we have some fascinating news for you. William spotted in protective gestures to Catherine as fans are speechless at his love storytelling. For years, royal fans have noticed something unusual about Prince William when he is out and about with Catherine, Princess of Wales. It's not dramatic at all, actually. He does not put on tremendous theatrical exhibitions of affection. He does not constantly seek out the cameras and the public's attention. William's love for Catherine, however, is frequently shown in little, almost imperceptible gestures, seen only by the observant if they look closely. A quick glance the other way during a crowded walkabout, a hand hovered protectively over her back. Automatically, his pace drops so that he can keep up with her. How he discreetly watches Catherine at emotionally exhausting moments to make sure that she is fine before he turns his focus to anything else. And for the first time, royal lovers began paying more attention to such gestures than they ever had before since Catherine was on the path to recovery. Largely because William no longer looks to be solely a royal husband by the side of the Princess of Wales with increasing regularity. He is, to begin with, the kind of man whose first care is for the protection of the woman he loves. One of the most spectacular incidences was in the men's final at the Wimbledon Championships on July 14, 2024. The occasion was of exceptional emotional significance as it was one of Catherine's most major public appearances since she disclosed she was going to seek treatment for cancer earlier this year. As she arrived at center court, Catherine stepped out in a chic purple saffia dress with softly draped cape sleeves. The crowd gave a fantastic standing ovation that lasted for over a full minute. Emotions flooded the air inside Wimbledon immediately. The cameras focused a lot of attention on Catherine's reaction as she smiled shyly in the middle of the accolades. But many royal enthusiasts had the same type of emotional reaction when they saw William standing by her. William kept his eyes on Catherine with clear affection and devotion throughout the whole ovation as the crowd continued to roar around them. In such an overpowering scenario, his body almost involuntarily bent in a protective way towards her, creating a sense of emotional protection for this person. There were other moments when William seemed less concerned with the audience and more concerned just with Catherine's emotional reaction. It exploded on social media immediately. One TikTok comment that went viral with millions of views, the phrase, "It's not a royal procedure." That is a husband taking care of his wife, making sure she is okay. Another fan commented, "William looked as if he would defend Catherine from the entire world if he had to." Royal body language experts noted in a follow-up explanation that William kept up the usual defensive posture throughout the presentation. He kept his eyes on Catherine all the while giving her space to experience the moment for herself. Or perhaps the emotional sensitivity of the duo was made all the more visible by everything that they had been through in secret over the previous many years. During the funeral rituals of Elizabeth II in September 2022, the same impulse to protect was once again shown in the people. People throughout the world felt a lot of emotion over what happened, not just the royal family. Cameras followed the senior royals' every move throughout the processions, rituals, and appearances in London and Windsor. But observers saw that even under the tension and formality of the wedding, William was softly checking on Catherine and the children throughout the festivities. When the royal family arrived at Westminster Abbey, cameras saw William slowing down subtly many times to match the pace of Catherine, Prince George of Wales, and Princess Charlotte of Wales. Before going on, he made it plain that he peeked back at various times in time to check on Catherine and the children and see that they were all comfortable. Since the movements were so faint, it is probable that many onlookers did not perceive them at all. Royal fans, however, did not take long to notice. As one of the most popular comments online said, William has made it a practice to regularly check on Catherine's location before taking any move. Another fan said, he has his family in the most secret way. Therefore, it appears fairly authentic. Royal experts later said that William becomes more physically attentive at emotionally stressful public occasions, especially when Catherine and the children are under intense global scrutiny. This is particularly true when the issue is emotionally draining. This calm commitment was also immediately visible during The Earthshot Prize Award ceremony that took place in Boston on December 2, 2022. It was one of the most magnificent royal visits of recent years, and the evening itself underlined it. Catherine stepped out in the now legendary emerald green Solace London gown that she has worn before, along with the emerald and diamond choker necklace that Princess Diana wore. Once she stepped onto the green carpet, the media curiosity exploded to new heights. The world's press had been transfixed by Catherine's spectacular future queen glamour moment. Photographers barking instructions from every angle they could see. Royal fans, however, were quick to notice William's body language towards her, despite the chaos that was going on. Throughout the arrivals, William tweaked his pace multiple times in an attempt to keep himself physically close to Catherine. There were also several videos of how cunning he was getting between Catherine and the photographers as they arrived at the event at the same time. William looked for a moment to be distracted by the fact that he was only watching Catherine greet people. Then he refocused on the cameras. One social media comment went viral. It read, "William always makes sure Catherine is never alone in intimidating situations." Is a line we've heard before. Another fan joked, it appeared like the man had forgotten that there were cameras around since he was so busy staring at his wife. After a while, audio language experts have noticed that William's protectiveness seems to be at its maximum in circumstances when Catherine is the main center of public attention. William tends to naturally take a supportive attitude next to her rather than engaging in a rivalry for attention. And maybe there was no other moment when that instinct mattered more than it did during the Caribbean Royal Tour in March 2022, which included visits in Belize, Jamaica, and the Bahamas. On the way, the royal family encountered political and emotional hurdles as the momentum of anti-monarchy protests grew and awkward discussions about colonialism's legacy ensued. During tense public engagements and crowded walkabouts, observers would routinely see William become more physically affectionate with Catherine. Cameras in Jamaica saw William gently guiding Catherine through dense crowds, lightly touching her back or elbow. This happened over the course of many battles in Jamaica. During active walkabouts, he went through 100 poses, trying to get near to her when others were crowding around them. The shielding force was most visible during emotionally challenging public events. When demonstrations grew more fierce, one online supporter wrote after the event, "William was under immense strain, and all his attention seemed to be on Catherine." One other comment states, "It's obvious he's doing all he can to keep her safe." William's protectiveness of Catherine, on the other hand, is not just evident in emotionally stressful situations. Sometimes it comes in the most ordinary circumstances in a more particularly personal manner. A particularly spectacular event had happened during the tour in Poland and Germany in July 2017. Catherine experienced a little problem with a strong wind while attending an outdoor engagement in damp weather in Berlin. She was trying to shake hands with the officials while also holding an umbrella. William turned his grin towards her and then, on autopilot, moved himself a little closer to her as if to shield her from the worst of the rain. The touch lasted just a few seconds, but people fell in love with her instantly since it seemed so natural and easy. One comment that went viral read, "William's first thought is usually of Catherine." Another fan wrote, "It seems like the protectiveness is at the subconscious level right now." After some time had passed, royal photographers had seen that William frequently physically positions himself towards Catherine in chaotic conditions without appearing to be aware that he is doing so. On many occasions during the royal family's tour across India and Bhutan in April 2016, the pattern of body language was similar, especially on April 16, 2016. They experienced a scenario that would live in their recollections on their famous journey to the Taj Mahal. Catherine sat next to William in his stunning white and blue Neem Khan number inspired by Indian handiwork. Through the photos, William repeatedly positioned his body toward Catherine, not the cameras. A little more digging, and body language experts said this dance in particular was typically a sign of couples unconsciously putting their emotional states first. Even the fans felt it unconsciously. A comment widely shared on the internet read, "William is always acting like she is his safe haven." Another fan wrote, "Cameras circle him, yet his eyes constantly find their way back to her." Also, the most demonstrative example of William's protective instincts was shown right from the start on their wedding day, April 29, 2011. When Catherine walked down the aisle in her famous Alexander McQueen wedding dress designed by Sarah Burton, William was visibly upset before addressing her in a quiet voice. "I am extremely glad for you. You have a beautiful profile," but despite this sexual connection, fans immediately saw that William seemed to be closely watching Catherine the whole day. As they left Westminster Abbey after the wedding, William was seen glancing in Catherine's direction a number of times. And he did this leading her through the great crowd to the steps of the palace. Between the famous kisses they exchanged, he moved surreptitiously closer to Catherine on the balcony of Buckingham Palace, while the crowd below them roared. Even then, royal watchers were describing the relationship as protecting without controlling. And this is a feature people still very much associate with the couple today. It is possible that this is exactly why people still feel such a deep connection to William's protective efforts after all these years, largely because they felt never contrived. They are not often used in formal speeches or in situations of intensity. Rather, they express themselves in the form of little fragments of intrinsic behavior. The quick glance at Catherine, the slowing down, the careful way he positions himself in crowds, the discreet pat on her back, and the constant checking that she is all right are all indicators of worry. Furthermore, after Catherine's recovery, such acts suddenly took on an even deeper emotional value in public. Partly because people are beginning to understand they do not see just a prince and a princess standing next to each other. They see a husband discreetly trying to protect the woman he loves from a world that never stops watching her. Hope you enjoyed viewing the video. Let us know what you think, and bye for now.